This is a podcast all about Bears. You either cheering for this team or just pulling your hair. I like to take a minute, just sit right back and tell you how I became the #1 Bears fan.
That boy is Benny Hunter.
Cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic, cake on the mic. People, this the intro. Sacramento, California, born and raised. And Analyst is where I spend most of my days. Talk bad about my team, you must be a clown. This is Keek on the mic, so you know you better bear down. Bear down.
Hey, what's going on, Bears fans? Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of Keek on the Mic, the podcast all about the Chicago Bears. Like always, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. So, interesting topic to discuss here on the podcast today as a report out of Chicago is this. NFL Analyst says Luke Getsy isn't the problem with the Chicago Bears offense. And obviously, Bears fan, it has been a really frustrating year for the Chicago Bears offense. But like most Bears fans would say, what is new? The Chicago Bears offense hasn't been good, it seems like, ever, right? But all in all, it has been really frustrating first 6 games for the Chicago Bears offense. We rank dead last, not only in scoring, but in passing as well. So I think everyone can agree, all Bears fans can agree that this has been a disappointing year for the Chicago Bears offense, right? And as the Chicago Bears offense and Justin Fields tries to correct these issues that they have on offense, a lot of fans have been coming out and trying to figure out who is to blame for the Chicago Bears early season offensive struggle, especially as it pertains to the Chicago Bears passing attack. So a lot of people ask this, is it Justin Fields or is it the offensive line? Is it the supporting cast of wide receivers? But the name that keeps popping up in terms of the Chicago Bears offensive struggles is offensive coordinator Luke Getsy, which is not surprising at all. He is the offensive coordinator, he is the coach, and when things don't go right, it's really easy to blame the coach. But can you actually blame Luke Getsy for the Bears' offensive struggles? And that's going to be my first question for today. So go ahead and comment down below in the comment section. And obviously, it's easy to blame Luke Getsy. He is the offensive coordinator. He's the one calling the plays. But like I just asked you guys, can you actually blame offensive coordinator Luke Getsy for the offensive struggles? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Obviously, when you look at Luke Getsy, he's in his first season as the OC. He basically inherited a squad that lacks a lot of talent across the board, and people blame play calling, right? When something doesn't work right away, when in reality, some of his calls would have possibly worked if his players actually just executed that play call, right? So there's different factors when you look at the Chicago Bears offensive struggles. So Brian Baldinger of NFL Network joined Mully Haugh on 670 The Score and made it clear that he thinks that Getsy is not the problem for this Chicago Bears offense early struggles. Check out what he had to say on this clip.
I don't know. Like, the offense makes sense to me. I think Luke is a good coordinator. I think he's played to their strengths. They got 2 good backs. The quarterback can run. There's quarterback runs in there. They got to get better in the passing game. Everybody knows that. And they got to get better up front.
You know what, Bears fans, and I have to say this, I absolutely agree with Baldinger here. Obviously, there may have been a couple of plays from Luke Getsy where I sit back and say, you know what was that, Luke Getsy? But all in all, overall, I feel like Getsy has done actually a pretty good job with the talent that he inherited when he came to Chicago to be the offensive coordinator, right? Obviously, when you look at it, the Bears have the #2 rushing attack in the NFL with a little bit over 1,000 yards in only 6 games. So the running game is absolutely there. And in terms of the passing game, I feel that Getsy has made some pretty good calls, especially when you look at the game against the Washington Commanders. Justin Fields could have easily had 3 touchdown passes, but just didn't execute. Obviously, the first drive threw an interception. The second drive missed Ryan Griffin wide open in the end zone. And then obviously the third one wasn't really on him. It was on Darnell Mooney not catching the ball cleanly. But that also goes into the fact that I want to talk about today is that all these players on offense have to execute. And I know that I'm guilty of this because there's been times where I've blamed Luke Getsy for some of the calls that he's made. But when he does call these plays, right, and they look like they've worked, like the one where Justin Fields missed Ryan Griffin wide open in the end zone, Justin Fields has to execute that play. So I do think, yes, there is some times where Luke Getsy, like I said, I'll scratch my head and say, okay, what was the call there? But all in all, I think you have to consider the different factors for Luke Getsy as well. He inherited a squad that lacks talent across the board. And then the talent that he does have on the board right now, right? They're just not executing the play. So he needs his players to execute. And just like Baldinger said in the clip that I showed you guys earlier in the podcast, they need to get better in the passing game and they need to get better up front. So that means Justin Fields. We all know he has his flaws. We understand that. Once again, Justin Fields also doesn't have a lot around him, so it's kind of hard to judge Justin Fields. But Justin Fields does have his struggles as well. So Justin Fields has to execute and do his job. But we understand that he can't do his job if the offensive line doesn't step up. So the offensive line needs to execute and do their jobs. And then, of course, the supporting cast around Justin Fields and Luke Getsy, right? The receivers need to execute and do their jobs. If these players on the Chicago Bears roster, what Luke Getsy has to work with, can execute the play calls, who knows? Maybe people are like, you know what? Luke Getsy is one of the better offensive coordinators in the NFL, which we probably know is not the case right now. But I would really like to see, once Ryan Poles adds some legit talent to the roster, to see what Luke Getsy is able to do. And obviously, coaches are supposed to be able to bring the best out of their players, which is absolutely true. But at the same time, all he can do is call the plays, right? Like I mentioned, he needs his players to execute the play. The one where Justin Fields missed a wide open Ryan Griffin in the end zone, that was a perfect play call. Justin Fields just has to finish the play. The one where Darnell Mooney dropped the pass that would have won us the game against the Washington Commanders, that was a good play call. Darnell Mooney just has to execute that play. So when things are going bad, Bears fans, and this is just in general, in sports, try not to blame the coach right away. Think about the other surrounding factors that could be the reason why the offense for the Chicago Bears has started slow. So like I said, Justin Fields has to get better. The offensive line has to get better. The receivers have to get better. And obviously, Luke Getsy is going to probably look himself in the face too, look in the mirror and say, you know what? I have to continue to try my best to put my players in the best situation as possible. But overall, I think that Luke Getsy has done more than enough to the best he could to put these Chicago Bears players in the best situation to succeed. So before I let you guys go, Bears fans, let me ask you this question. Who is to blame for the early season offensive struggles for the Chicago Bears? Let me know down below in the comment section. Before I let you guys go, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to catch all Bears content right here on the podcast. Make sure you follow me on all my social media platforms. And make sure you share this episode of Geek on the Mic with every single Bears fan that you know. But other than that, I'll be back for an all-new Bears podcast right here on Geek on the Mic. Thanks, guys, and bear down.
You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic. You can go and subscribe cause I be on it right. You ain't bout it, you ain't bout it, you ain't Geek on the Mic.